Chong. Ik ben journalist voor onder andere mixedworldmusic.com. Today we'll have a short talk with Shabaka Hutchings, who you just perhaps saw playing with BCUC. And after that, my colleague Koen Schaat will take over for an interview and a live session with Las Piranhas. Shabaka Hutchings, please welcome. He was born in 1984 in London. Afterwards he moved to Barbados. He started playing classical clarinet at the age of 9, I believe, and a year later he switched to saxophone. He's one of the biggest jazz talents nowadays in England, and also more and more in Africa. A couple of months ago he played the Transition, which is a jazz festival in Utrecht, and out of all the acts it was really amazing to hear him perform with his group, The Ancestors. That's one of his groups. You have several groups, right? There are like
three groups.
Three groups, yeah.
So there's Sons of Kemet, which is myself, 2 drummers and a tuba player. There's the Comet is Coming, which is a synthesizer, drums and myself.
Yeah.
And then The Ancestors from South Africa.
It was interesting to read interviews with you to see that you can practically choose your own labels, right? At this moment.
Yeah, the way it's gone with recording with me so far is that I've made albums and then approached different labels to bring them out, as opposed to starting with a label behind me. So it's all been pretty organic the way the groups have formed.
Yeah, is it your wish to have your own label one day, perhaps, or?
Yeah, at the moment I'm more or less touring constantly, so I can't really think about that now. But it makes sense as an artist to be able to control how your output is governed.
Yeah. What strikes me in your music when I see you perform, that you seem to make a plea for like a different kind of jazz, like African jazz, more than the usual North American nostalgia. Can you relate on that?
There's a Kenyan writer that I like to listen to and read a lot called Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and one of the concepts he talks about a lot is moving the center. So moving the central point at which we see the basis of all our knowledge. So it's not about saying that American jazz is irrelevant, or the trajectory and the lineage from the African American community to the point that we have now isn't as respected, but it's about saying that maybe there's a different point of perspective that we can inhabit, and that point is coming from the journey of jazz through Africa, actually through the African diaspora all around the world, and seeing how they've interacted with their own histories and their own musical traditions with what Americans have formed as jazz.
Yeah. And can you tell me, is your youth, your early days in Barbados, is that of influence on the way you perceive jazz, or?
I think it would have influenced me. I can't really say how it has specifically. I grew up listening to many musics, calypso, reggae, hip hop, just many things, and I think everything always just amounts into the individual and the musician that you are.
Yeah. And what also is very very clear in the articles about your music is that you have some kind of new perception of jazz, which also gets heard on different festivals, not only the jazz community but also outside of the jazz community. Is that something you strive for, to get new audience, or?
I think the one thing I'm striving for is to create a situation in which people like myself can listen to my music and not feel like it's something other. So it's not that I'm trying to make jazz for an audience that's outside of jazz, but I just want people to maybe not separate themselves from
good music.
Good music, yeah.
Yeah. And when you see like jazz, like straight ahead jazz, which now also gets taught on conservatories, and you have like the spiritual jazz movement from the 60s, and you said in many interviews that you are a big lover of that kind of jazz, spiritual jazz, like Alice Coltrane, John Coltrane. What does it mean to you, that spiritual jazz phase in the jazz history?
I think more than anything, I like the word spiritual jazz because it tells people about what moment in history you're talking about, but in some way the word sometimes gets in the way of actually what the thing is, which is there are certain artists who chose to make public their spiritual development and their, I guess, journeys to maturity as individuals, and that was manifested through their music. That's one of the things that I appreciate in that moment of time, where artists could tell the audience, these are the factors in my life that are affecting the music that I'm producing. And for me, it's not a style, spiritual jazz. It's a way of connecting your life story and your history to what the music is.
Yeah. So it's not only about the music, but also like the other experiences in life.
It's about the intention. It's about how it's perceived by the artist and by the audience, and actually socially what was around to create factors that made the music.
In beginning of 2015, you went for the first time, I think, to Johannesburg. No?
No, I've been going for a while. My ex-girlfriend was actually South African, so I was going backwards and forwards for about the last 4 years.
Okay, but you recorded your album.
But I recorded an album a year ago. And that was the culmination of playing in lots of different groups and scenarios with various musicians. And then I thought I want to see what it is when I take my own music there, after having played other people's music for a while. So we just recorded an album.
But I even read that you when you got into there, you played at this jazz club, and then a day later you already recorded the album with that band, no?
So the concept of the band was more like I just wanted to capture an experience of us playing together. So we had a rehearsal to basically learn the music. We had one gig and then we recorded in one day. So I didn't want it to be a laboured experience.
And that album has only your compositions, right? Only, original material. So what's the next phase? Because you have so many groups, it's hard to keep track of you almost.
So
what will be the next phase for you?
We've recorded the next Sons of Kemet and Comet is Coming album. So we're nearly finished mixing the Sons of Kemet, and we're starting the new record from Comet's Coming, the producing of it in the middle of the summer.
Okay.
So it's an ongoing process of just keeping on delivering work while we're inspired. And the collaboration with BCUC, how did that came about? That came about just through, I guess, common people that we have from here and South Africa. So I kept on hearing their name pop up and seeing their performances online, and they've been hearing about me. So then there was a chance to put us together. And just happened.
And I think this was the second time, right?
Yeah, the first time was in Paris. And it just happened. We got together on the afternoon, and the thing that I really appreciate about the BCUC guys and lady is that they've got a real handle of the energy. It's not that they're playing certain pieces and they're developing. The development is a part of the course of the energy throughout the structure of the piece.
It's like a collective energy what they built. What I really find interesting that I also read that you got some composition grant to write for a clarinet and string quartet, the Ligeti quartet. Can you tell me about it? How did you?
So basically, throughout my life, I've been given the opportunity to compose for various forces. So I've composed music for orchestra, I've composed music for string quartet, brass group, and various different things. For me, it's just a matter of setting yourself a challenge within certain parameters. So I might know that, for instance, my harmonic knowledge isn't the same as someone who studied classical harmony, but I'm gonna maybe kind of give myself an area to study, and then let the inspiration and actually the musicality that I have coming from my background influence what I write. So it's just I just see what happens.
It's a multi-year plan actually. Now to play with all those different groups, and then perhaps later on more and more your own. Okay. At this festival you won't be playing anymore, but you will be playing in the Netherlands at Le Guess Who, I believe, in November.
With Shabaka and Ancestors.
Okay, with the Ancestors again. Okay, great. Are there questions in the audience, perhaps, for Shabaka? No questions? No? Okay. Well, thanks a lot for the interview.
Thank you.
We'll move forward now to the next program. Koen Schouten, my colleague, will be doing an interview with Las Piranhas now. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye.